Welcome to the Sedona Soul Sister Show, down-to-earth discussions on metaphysics, paranormal, and spiritual topics.
And the Sedona Soul Sisters are myself, Rosalind Reynolds, my business partner, Ivory Lanou, and our friend, Melissa Brace, who's unable to be with us today. We have offices in Sedona, Arizona, and this is an amazing metaphysical place. So it's a fabulous place to experience all kinds of normal and paranormal things.
There's no doubt about that.
Yes.
Today's topic is reducing drama in your life. So if you have questions or comments on today's topic, you can type those into the show's chat room. We will answer your questions live during the show, and we'll make sure all your comments are responded to.
So this is an interesting topic, considering that we're kind of still moving through the holidays, but we have just experienced one of the most dramatic holidays of all.
Everybody's all emotionally upset. Yes. You get thrown together more than usual.
No matter which, type of celebration you're having, the family drama thing is kind of always there because this is history. And, everybody has the history with their parents, their siblings, their cousins, etc. So I don't know about you, but I get a lot of comment from friends, also from family, like, okay, chillax, take a chill pill, because the emotion's already there. It's already bubbling along. Mm-hmm. And I think we've talked about this a lot. This is kind of a little bit about your mindset too, and where your spirit is with it.
I think what's hard is you work on yourself spiritually, and you've raised your vibrations, and you've gotten yourself thinking and acting and reacting in a different way. And then you're thrown into the old family dynamics. Yes. And they aren't playing the game with you. They're playing the old rules. You're playing by a different set of rules. And it can be very jarring to you spiritually as well as emotionally. So it's a way of trying to reduce your expectations a little bit, protecting yourself. There's a lot of different things you can do. I think maybe we should start with what can you do? And this is not just about family and Christmas. This is any drama in your life. You might have a supervisor, a boss that's toxic and dramatic, or coworkers or friends. The obvious is don't be around those people if you can help it. But that's in a perfect world, isn't it?
It is.
That's not always possible. So what about things you can do to shield yourself? Anybody with any kind of empathic skills, which is just a psychic ability to feel other people's emotions. So if you show up for work or a family gathering or with friends, and there's some kind of drama been going on, chances are you're going to feel that in your solar plexus. You're going to get that tightening, that kind of sick, uncomfortable feeling. So immediately you need to shield, shut down your upper chakras, open your root chakra, do it several times, do a little visualization with it. I always say that's kind of a psychic gird your loins before you go into the drama.
Well, and I personally have a great faith and a great belief in placing yourself in a white light bubble. Yes. And being surrounded, your work field is full of all of the energies that you are experiencing. Take control of that. Take control, get calm. I say this all the time, but breath work, deep breathing, relaxing, and taking control of your sphere of energy, and asking and focusing on having a block there at the edge of your energy field, your auric field, and maintain some objectivity with all of these things going on, because it's a choice whether or not you're going to participate in all of the drama and all of the, emotional upheaval that people might choose to participate in. Maybe they enjoy that. But for those those of us who are psychically and intuitively sensitive, that's a rough ride.
So one thing is know your limits. So if you are hearing this and you're in a toxic work environment, that is not an unusual situation to find yourself in on a spiritual journey, where before you seem to be fine there, and now it's just like you dread going to work, and there's certain people that if you just think of them, it just sets you on edge. Well, that's, your angels and your body and your spirit telling you that you need to find a healthier work environment for yourself based on who you are now. That doesn't work anymore.
And I think we have to realistically, too, assess the fact that, there are people that take tremendous enjoyment from creating drama and chaos.
Poking the bear.
Yes.
Yes, they do.
And, again, just because they're choosing to do their drama queen, enjoyment routine, we don't have to jump in on that. We can make the decision. And I think another factor to take into consideration is maybe before we enter these places, we need to get ourselves completely balanced.
I think
grounding is a tremendous help, for me at least. And I know for a lot of my clients, just spending a little time grounding to the very calming energy of earth and deciding that, okay, I'm not going into these trauma spaces. So it really is about your consciousness more than anything else.
It is. I mean, just like it's a choice to go put yourself in that environment, it's a choice whether you're going to be there or be a part of it. So Roz was saying earlier about kind of stepping back, and that's about emotionally distancing yourself, stepping back, detaching emotionally when things start to get dramatic, and you know that it's going into an area that's uncomfortable for you, that's downright painful for you. So you just start stepping back emotionally. You can just see yourself literally stepping back, and then you're looking as an observer. And if it's still too painful, you can step into another room and get yourself balanced again, or excuse yourself from a situation. Nothing says you have to stay there and be tortured if you can possibly leave. That doesn't make sense, does it? So a lot of times I think we make ourselves stay in these really toxic situations in all phases of life and different areas of life that we don't have to. Until you find a new job, sad news, you're probably going to have to keep going to that toxic job. So get out of there.
Yeah. So, that solution, that resolution of realizing you need to remove yourself from that situation as much as possible. But as you're pointing out, you don't always just go, okay, I'm leaving my job now. So we have to make the determination to remain truly calm within ourselves. We also have to kind of come to a realization that our reactions as we withdraw emotionally and spiritually from these, chaotic or emotionally dramatized situations may also alter how the people are experiencing this and reacting. Because when you project calmness, you're feeling it, and you project that out, and you surround people with light and love and calmness, they do experience that. So we do have some control over not only ourselves, but making a calm space all around us.
Absolutely. And when you get good at that, one of the ways you can know that you've achieved that is when people are telling you, it just feels so good to be around you. I feel better when I've been around you for a while. Well, they're feeling your energy, but they're also just sort of stepping into your serenity. and you can be a serene, calm center in a storm. What I was thinking about this whole thing of staying out of the drama, the chaos, part of it is there's usually somebody who wants you to take sides. So two things that can be really helpful is a refusal to gossip, so we don't talk about people behind their back. And the other thing is not taking sides, not taking one person's side against someone else when it's clearly part of a drama situation. You need to stay neutral in those kind of situations, because there's nothing to be gained by a group of friends or family or coworkers taking sides and like becoming these warring factions. Just makes it more chaotic, more dramatic.
That is a really good point, I think. And that's something that most people don't think about, because once you're hooked, once you're in the excitement and the, oh my gosh, so-and-so said this, so-and-so said that, and all of that other stuff, you gotta like retract, pull back, and re-enter your space of calmness. And it's not always easy.
No, and it's
because
not,
somebody is trying to get you in the middle.
And if you say something, you got to avoid sounding sanctimonious, because I've seen that really set off a gathering where if you say, I don't like to gossip, people take that as, oh, so you think we do. So instead, just don't do it. Just step back, just don't get quiet. If they ask you your opinion, say, I don't really want to take sides in this. I see some points on both sides of this, if that's true, or just stay quiet. But don't put yourself out there to be the center of you getting heaped drama on you for seeming like you think you're better than they are, because that definitely can happen.
There's a lot to be said for that position of neutrality too, for your inner survival and calmness moving through as you move through whatever it is that's going on. 9 times out of 10, there's going to be some other drama that comes on after that, because a lot of people who grew up in a chaotic or dramatic home, that's their comfort level. That's where they feel good. Mm-hmm. So when things get a little too quiet, they can't handle that. They have to get something going on. And the refusal to participate and the removal of yourself from all of that kind of serves as your peace place, but also their peace place too, mm-hmm. because 9 times out of 10, again, you're going to find these people that will then, once they can't get you in the drama mode, they're going to be cruising out there looking for other drama and other participants. So it's pretty powerful to just step back, be in peace, and not react. Now, I can say that, but doing that is not easy. Mm-mm. It's not easy at all. So
I think I became aware of how powerful that whole and I've always said that too, Roz, is that there's a lot of people who their comfort zone is chaos. And you can recognize it because they don't seem to be able to enjoy a peaceful, happy, harmonious situation. They have to get in there and start digging at somebody or starting gossip or dividing factions. So when I worked in a psychiatric hospital, we had just about every patient there, just about, I would say 90% of them were like that. And that was a real wake-up factor for me, but I've used that in my personal life. That was just like, oh my goodness, I get this. I see what's going on. This is the extreme version, but it happens in families and groups of friends. So sometimes that is going to mean excusing yourself from the situation completely. If you can't keep your center and it's really hurting you or the situation's spinning out of control, it's okay to say your goodbyes. And it's also okay to move on from some friendships and coworkers and family members who are continuously toxic and dramatic. Dramatic is toxic, overly dramatic.
Eventually, yeah, it gets to that point where the drama starts to build. And then it becomes an agitation and a constant, energy fluctuation. Pretty hard if you're highly sensitive and if you're empathic, mm-hmm. but well worth your time to work on developing, that ability. And for me, I mean, I'm kind of a hot-headed person.
You are?
I'm a little fireball.
That's surprising.
So what happens is I have to literally stop, or my loving partner, Ed, will say, hey, take a step back.
Because you're letting it all hit. You're just
because
saying
it's
it.
like, I'm like instantaneous, like boom, So it's yeah. So it's like revitalizing and restructuring your entire life pattern when you get down to it. And that is a mind blower.
Because think about it. I'm going to talk specifically about families here, because that's the most difficult dynamic. And the reason is they've known you your whole life, obviously, and they have an idea. They've got this shape that you fit into a puzzle. This is you at age 5, you at age 10, this is who you are. When you go out and you work on yourself and you change and you react and act differently, you no longer fit the family puzzle, and they don't know what to do with you. And they keep trying to put you back into that old piece, and it just won't fit.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. And they're going to feel uncomfortable, and you're going to feel uncomfortable. And so sometimes, I have found it helpful just to have a heart-to-heart talk and say, I feel like you're thinking about me of how I was when I was a kid. And, I'm definitely not a kid anymore. Here's who I am now. And that's just ways that I haven't acted since I was a child. So I'd like you to try to really look at who I am now and think of me. And I'm doing the same for you. And I've had some good luck with that. Not always with everybody, but with some people, it's really helped. It's really been a turnaround moment.
Well, I think the other thing, too, to look at is for those of us who have children, I always had to stop myself with my kids and think, okay, wait, you're setting an example here. Not that I was 100% perfect with that, but definitely it was a catching point for my mind to then get my spirit on board of like, wait a minute, you want to throw a screaming tantrum over here, but then your kid's going to feel that way too. Not that, our children don't arrive with their own. They definitely have their own personality, agenda, spiritual job that they came here to do. And, you got to think about what your priorities are in exampling. And that, for me, I always laugh and go, my kids taught me more than anybody ever did, because I had to really revise myself.
I think that goes in the other direction, too, because I'm thinking about my last visit to my daughter and grandsons, and my daughter Michelle was cooking something, and my oldest grandson Gavin said, "Grandma Ivory, is she? Do you think that's good? Is she doing it right?" And I just said, I looked at him and I said, "You know what? Your mom's been cooking for a long time now. She's a grown woman. She's a great mother. She's a great wife, and she knows how to cook. So she doesn't need me." And I could feel my daughter's energy, just kind of like her confidence just kind of went, "Oh, yes." And it was good because I felt like her sons were looking at her a little differently too, with some new eyes. But we have to be careful not to treat our grown children like they were when they were children.
Yeah.
It's very hard to let go of that, running their lives and making decisions for them and helping them to the point where we're enabling. That can create some drama too, that blows back on you from your adult kids who are like, I don't need you to be, hand holding me here. I run a house. I'm perfectly capable.
And that it's hard to, always catch yourself.
It is.
From falling into those old patterns that we have. So it's really, I think what it really comes down to for me is like being considerate, understanding that not everybody sees things, the way I do, but definitely I have to respect how they're feeling, but I don't have to go along on the ride of drama.
No, and it's going to come right back to something that is very important. Don't take things personally.
Ah, yes.
When people say things and it hurts you, you feel that initial kind of inside. Just think about what did they maybe mean here? What's the kindest explanation for what they just said or did? Sometimes that really is the reason, but it helps you from immediately getting sucked into the drama of the moment. Most of the time, what people say or do is about them and not about you. So if you haven't read that book, The Four Agreements, one of the agreements is don't take things personally.
Yeah. And it's a very, I find that book to be a very solid guidepost for how we handle things. And I recommend it a lot.
I do too.
Recommend it a lot
because
I know it really helped me.
Yeah, I think it's really good and it's very simple and easy to read. But that's just one of the things, and it sounds so simple, and you're probably like, well, how's that going to make a difference? Because if you're not taking things personally, you're not preparing yourself to verbally respond or, by getting angry, upset. Do you see how that would feed the drama?
There's no reaction.
Yeah.
If you're just not taking thinking it personally, you're just observing.
I know people will be like, did you even hear what they say? And it's like, yes, I'm processing and I'm doing my thing. I'm trying really hard to think what's the kindest thing they might have done or they might have meant by that, that I maybe misconstrued it. Because it doesn't matter if you're already on a spiritual path or you've raised your vibrations, you're still human. You're still susceptible to falling down those little rabbit holes that humans do.
Yeah. And I think, we live in a very reactionary culture.
Yes, we do.
And reactionism is rewarded a lot.
Here's a good place to practice not reacting online.
So
look at all the trolls that are out there that just jump on people and write the most atrocious things they would never say to a person's face. So instead of becoming a part of that, if you're the victim of a troll or you see one on something you're involved in, practice either ignoring it or responding in a way that de-escalates a situation. So, you can be part of it or you can help end it.
And I think that right there says a lot, making the decision to terminate a situation with a person in an event. And that just takes drama like boom, down to nothing because you've terminated the entire interaction that was going on. So very powerful. And these are all choices that we have every day. So making our mind up to always try to keep our focus on our spiritual path, our journey, what we're learning. I'm always, telling people and tell myself, what am I being shown here? What is the lesson? What am I supposed to be getting? And sometimes I have to go, okay, I'm not getting it. So help me out here.
Explain this.
But yeah, it's really important to realize that all of these events are spiritual guideposts and have the opportunity to be amazing spiritual turning points for us.
I know we're not going to be able to fix other people. We're not going to be able to de-escalate every person or every situation. But like Roz just said, it's really more about your experience because it's you having it. They're going to each have their own individual experience. But in your experience, what are you taking away from it? What did you learn about yourself, about your family, your coworkers, your friends? What is it that you learned here that you can take forward and avoid this kind of situation better or maybe avoid these people?
And what do I want my history to be in dealing with these situations? Because to me, you can't change history, but you can sure get the lesson when you look back at it. And I used to, when I was young, do a lot of journaling and writing. And what I would find when I looked back, maybe even as short as a couple of years, but I think 5 years was always kind of a wake-up point where I would look back on how I was handling things and what I was doing and reaction and all of those things and say, okay, I am making progress. I am moving through the lessons. I'm getting it.
That's why I love journaling so much.
I don't do it anymore, but I really feel like at the time when I spent a lot of time doing that, it was invaluable So give that some thought too, because these are all little things you can do to help you move through dealing with the things that we're faced with all the time.
Yeah, life is about interacting with other people. And yeah, you can be a hermit and avoid it completely, but it is about interacting with people. We got to get better at that. So there's 5 minutes left. If you have a question, now is the time to type it into the chat room, and we'll be glad to answer it on the show. The journaling, what I like about it too, is that sometimes people don't see the progress they make is so gradual, and they're so in it, they don't see it till they read back 5, 10 years later and read back, and you have changed so much, and that makes you feel so better, so much more accomplished in what you've managed to do with yourself on your journey.
And another side of that with all of this trauma and everything that's around us is I always ask myself, is whatever this situation is going to be important in my life in 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that little 5-year test is pretty valuable to help you set your goals and set your priorities of how you're going to handle all this.
So like
craziness.
If you're at a department store and you wanted that purple purse and somebody else, they were wrestling and they got it, you're just going to let them have it, right?
I am. Yeah, right.
She loves purple. Can you tell?
This is about the reaction thing. Some of us just have it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just there. And planning ahead and trying to get yourself in the mode of anticipating what you're going to do when the drama hits you.
You can do that, but
It's
the
all
truth
about that.
is, because we're still struggling, we're in these human bodies trying to live this human life and deal with a multitude of personalities. The reality is that most of your growth in this area will be done after you're out of the dramatic situation, when you can really reflect back on what happened, what was your part in it, even if it's small, even if it's something you allowed to happen, something you didn't say, something you didn't do. Sometimes that is what it's about, but own your part in it, because that's where the real lessons of growth come in, so that you know what you can do to improve yourself, because you can't improve anybody else. You might as well focus it all on yourself.
True. Very true.
Get super good at it.
And I always try to remind myself, since along with that boom thing that I also have a very quick little mind and a sharp tongue when I get in that situation. And I always try to remind myself, wait a minute, think about your words, the power of your words, because our words and thoughts have so much power. And they have the power to heal and do good work, or they have the power to harm and be kind of negative. So we got to get ourselves under control.
I think we all know that it takes a lot more work and time to undo harsh words said and actions done than it is to reflect on it and then come back the next time and try better. But it's better to not say something if you're not sure you can control what you say.
And that's pretty simple.
It is. It sounds simple.
Yeah.
But as we know, when you're in it, you have emotions that they get triggered. So I like to put what I see. She talks about that golden bubble. I do something very similar with that, where I just surround myself with angelic light and a shield of angelic energy between my whole upper chakras and everybody else. And it really helps me stay a step back, stay emotionally removed in a positive way, that I don't get caught up in this, no matter where it is or who it is.
Good point.
So tune in next week. The topic will be how to manifest. We're getting really good at that.
This is the time of year. So join us next time, because we'll be kicking it around about how to create the energy to manifest what you want. And there's a lot of woo-woo about that, but really, in reality, it's about your focus of energy.
It is.
That's what it comes down to. Thanks for joining us so much on the Sedona Soul Sister Show today. We do have offices in Sedona. I always say that because I get people they get in touch with me or going, "Are you still in Sedona?" I'm going, "Oh yes." And also, please visit our website, SedonaSoulSisters.com, for any information about the things that we do and the ways that we could serve you and help you.
And just a little thank you to Melissa Brace. We've so enjoyed having her here as part of Sedona Soul Sisters, but she has decided to go back to the Midwest and focus on her longtime clientele there. And that means she won't be on our show anymore either. And we're really going to miss her.
Yeah, she is loved here and loved there. And I guess they won.
I guess they did.
And whatever she decides to do, we do see her in an amazing light with her gifts. I will miss her.
I will too. Happy New Year to you all.
Bye.